Hello and welcome to a special bonus episode of The Perfect Press Release. Tom Clark here, and over the next few weeks I'm going to be talking to several special guests who'll be telling me about their experiences with press releases. That's small business owners, PR people, journalists, investors. There are lots of people out there that work with press releases, either professionally or when they have an important story to tell, and we'll be tapping into all of those experiences during these chats. Hopefully they'll provide plenty of food for thought for all of you out there who are working on your own press releases and might need some inspiration. First up is Mike Howarth from Centrespot UK, a grassroots football clothing company that launched earlier this year. He got in touch to say that the podcast had really helped him with writing that all-important launch press release. Now, I should warn you that Mike says some very nice things about the podcast, but that in no way influenced my decision to have him on the show. We are nothing if not balanced and objective over here on The Perfect Press Release. Hope you enjoy. So we're very happy to have Mike Howarth with us for today's episode. Nice to see you, Mike.
And you, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
It's a pleasure. I wanted to talk a little bit about Centrespot, not knowing anything about your business. Talk me through it.
So myself and my business partner, Simon Stewart, set up Centrespot start of the year. And in a nutshell, the business model is we create a clothing brand for football fans to basically promote who they support without having to buy an expensive club shirt. It came from the fact that my business partner supports Manchester United. They're going through a bit of a tough time with owners, and a lot of their fans don't want to put money into the club just to give it to people who aren't putting it back into the club and the surroundings. So essentially the clothing is the Centrespot logo with the club colours. So take Manchester United, for example, it will be a red hoodie or a sweatshirt with the Centrespot logo, which will be white and black, and then the coordinates of the center spot of the stadium. That was how it all started, really. So we can do absolutely every club. Myself supporting Bolton Wanderers, we focused recently on the video of a video blog of the history of Bolton Wanderers and all the grounds that they've had, and now the current one. And then we came up with the idea that we're going to put 5% of our gross profit back into grassroots football. A hugely underfunded system in the UK. At the start of the year, the government pledged 93 million to go back into grassroots. So we feel that if we can help with that, just with 5%, obviously we won't make that 5% without sales, but then we'll happily put it back into how footballers are produced in the UK and just get kids back out and playing football.
And I guess commiserations on being a Bolton fan, although you do have a playoff final to look forward to this weekend.
Yes, best to not talk about it just yet, but we deserve it. We've had a few tough years, and again, I talk about the Glazers. It's Bolton Wanderers nearly went under 4 or 5 years ago with an asset stripper of an owner. So putting money into grassroots is, whilst we'd love to put money into an actual club, we're only 5 months down the line. So who knows, maybe in 10, 20 years we might have that success. But it's important to us to realise that football is for the fans and always has been and always will be. It's never been any different, no matter how long the game's been going on. It's fans who have the game, and it shouldn't be anything other than that.
Fantastic. Yeah, absolutely. And I think that probably fans of Bolton and people like that, your product is more for them, right, than the big sort of more commercial clubs. It's something that you can show loyalty to your team with that kind of feeling of home. I think that's quite a big thing for the company, right? It's this kind of feeling of
the tagline is the colours of home. So we've done a couple of videos at grassroots clubs. So Glossop North End, which is the smallest town to ever have a top flight football club. I mean, that was back in 1899. So we kind of promoting more grassroots products and grassroots clubs, should I say, sorry. I mean, we are doing bigger clubs. We've done Man City on a video. We've done Bolton Wanderers, obviously. But the main focus is to make people feel like they are happy and proud to promote their home, which is why the coordinates on the logo are there.
it's a bespoke service, right? So, I mean, I could go to you and say, I want my really local football club, that plays
Absolutely,
in my
yeah,
park, and you can.
absolutely. We've got we've done some work with a local team called Old Rivingtonians, who are based in Horwich, near Horwich. So we've got a sweatshirt for them. We've put it out there for local grassroots teams to have their own merchandise. We've also sponsored a mental health football team called Talking Football. So we've got our logo on their new shirt. I mean, obviously we're not averse to clubs like Manchester United or Manchester City buying our clothing, but it is very much a grassroots focused business, and as many clubs as want to help us, and that's why we are putting money back into it, which we're doing this Sunday. We've got 4 teams across the Northwest who we're donating balls to and equipment to, who just can't afford to get anything, and that's based on the sales we've made already.
Amazing. And I think that's sort of part of the reason that you wanted to start to get that message a little bit further out into grassroots football fans all over the country, this idea of community, and therefore getting some sort of PR activity going, I guess for the first time, right, with a small business and a new business. What was the sort of thought process there, and sort of talk me through the background to why you decided to write a press release in the first place?
It was it was your podcast, your LinkedIn messages and posts that promoting how to write the perfect press release, and it was perfect for me. It was a blueprint of how to write one, which is why I commented on your post to say how great it was, because it kind of reignited the thing going, well, to get this any further, then we're going to have to try and get something out there. How we do that is another thing, but to actually write one and be confident enough to write one based on those podcasts that you put out, I just feel that it's getting that hook, isn't it? And the 5% back to grassroots is a hook that will resonate with a lot of people. And yeah, it was just like a light bulb moment when I was listening to your podcast. It was like, I've got to get one done. So.
Well, it's great to hear that feedback. Thank you. And I think that it's exactly stories like yours that I'm trying to help people write, because there are so many small businesses out there that have really interesting stories that people want to hear or read about, and trying to get your story heard in amongst all of the other noise that's going on in the world is very challenging. So talk us through this idea of a hook then. You talked about, there's a couple of angles, I guess, for your business. There's the fact that your USP, I suppose, is this idea of a real centering of a football fan's world, which is the coordinates of their ground on their shirt. So it's a kind of spin on the traditional sort of colours of a football shirt. But then you've got this idea of this grassroots work that you're doing and trying to put something back into the community. And I think you're exactly right that that's probably the hook that you should use when you're writing a press release. So is that something that you were sort of focusing on when you were doing that writing? Yes,
because as you well know, and a lot of the PR professionals, or majority should know, is the fact you can't turn it into an advertisement for your own business. It's, whilst we could talk about the fact that our clothing is made on 100% organic cotton, it's direct to garment. The garments are fantastic. They'll last you a long time. I wanted to focus on the fact that, even like I say, we're donating these balls at the weekend, and even some clubs are just so grateful for even 10 footballs. So it was the hook of, whilst it is a little bit self-indulgent of saying how we're helping grassroots teams, it's more of a message to get out there that they need the help. We're not any kind of heroes. It's just a case of, well, if we can make some money on this and we can make a successful business out of it, then someone else needs to benefit as well. And that's, again, going back to your podcast, it's just getting that hook out there. And why would you want to read this press release? Why would you want to take interest in this business, in this company? Because if I'd just put there saying Centre Spot UK, fantastic garments based on the colours of home and the coordinates of your ground, it would have got no interest. So it is about getting people into it and understanding why we're doing what we're doing. And if on the back of that we get more sales, we then help more grassroots teams. And because I used to be a coach at grassroots level, and Simon is still a coach at under 18s level. It's hugely important to us. We know how expensive it can be, how tiring it is to run a club, whether it's all volunteers, players, managers, assistants, admin, whatever it is. They all take time out of their day to do these things. So finding a budget is a bit like finding a budget for a press release for us. It's not as easy as just plucking some money out of the air. You've got to find some kind of funding, and if we can help them do that, then to be honest, it doesn't necessarily mean we want to be multi-million-pound business. It's just great to put something back into the game that we grew up with and the game that millions of people love. But like you touched on, we've actually done a T-shirt recently for a club in Albania. So any club can have the merchandise. It's not limited to just, like, say, a big team in England or a small team in England. It can go absolutely anywhere.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head there with this idea of press release writing. When you first have an idea for one, when you set up a business, I think there's a huge temptation for a small business to try and cram everything into that first press release that basically says, here's who we are, and this is what we do, and this is why we're great. They've got so many ideas, and they're so excited about their whole world is revolving around this small business as it grows. And it's very easy, therefore, to lose sight of the fact that not everyone else feels the same way about your story as you do. Yeah. And therefore, you need to find this angle that is going to resonate with people more than just saying, we're a clothing brand and come buy our clothing, our sweatshirts and our T-shirts. Yeah. So absolutely, the hook is vital. I wanted to ask you about how realistic you are around what happens next and whether you're looking for particular target audiences within the media or beyond, because it strikes me it's quite a consumery story. You're looking to target real people. Football fans could be anybody, but in terms of media reach, is there any particular aspirations that you have in terms of coverage?
That's a very good question.
That's what I'm here for.
Yes. I think that, without an unlimited budget, it's going to be tricky to kind of get specific industries or journalists to read this, which is why services like you and I have worked for exist, to try and get the stuff out there. In terms of coverage, it honestly wouldn't matter if it was just one local paper. For us, it's more about just making people aware that we exist and what we do. So whether that is hits on the website, whether it's YouTube views, that's all that really matters at this moment in time. We know that this isn't going to be the one and only press release. It's just going to be a good start. We'd love it if some national media picked it up, of course, but that's certainly not in my head. It would just be a case of obviously the teams. Anyway. Not yet. I mean, if we did, great. But the teams we're helping the weekend, we're delivering the balls to, based in Hindley, Wigan, and Moston near Manchester, and Reddish near Stockport. So there's a lot of local press that could utilise that. So yeah, there's not really any kind of plan. It's just going to be a kind of shotgun approach and machine gun approach, I say, where we just try and get it out there as far as we can and try and find as much coverage as we can on whether it's just, like I said before, hits on the website or just knowledge of who we are and what the brand looks like.
Yeah, I think there's two things that strike me as being really key audiences for you, and that is, as you mentioned, local media. These are really hyper local stories, right? When you're talking about grassroots clubs dotted around the sort of villages and towns around Manchester, there really is an appetite for that sort of story in local media. And the second one is using reasonably cheap, actually, online only kind of services, which will get you some kind of digital footprint for that story. And as you rightly say, you can then include backlinks to the Centre Spot website, to your YouTube channel. And it doesn't take very much in terms of just getting it online to drive a few more people to your website, a few more people to your shop, a few more people, therefore, that will buy your products. And that, I think, is a great blueprint for small businesses starting out is not to try and go, right, well, I'm going to find myself a budget of several £1,000s to send this press release out into the ether. It's around really being honest with yourself and focusing on the types of media that might be interested in, and critically how you can get that press release to consumer audiences as smoothly and as cheaply, let's face it, as possible.
Yeah.
So I think that those are the kind of angles that I would be looking at, and it sounds like that's the route you're going to go to.
Yeah, and you kind of touched on not having the national, trying to get the national straight away and focus on locals, and that's why we've just recently completed a YouTube series on the history of Bolton Wanderers. It was Simon's suggestion that because we live in Bolton, I'm a Bolton supporter, it was a case of we need to get Bolton to love us as a town. That's where the company's founded. That's my club. That's where we live. And that's why we did what we did. We focused on 4 parts of I've once about 7 grounds that Bolton have been at since they were created. And the video, whether it is based on the fact that we've just been in the playoff semi-finals, it's been the last part. Last week was our best viewed video, and that's kind of the idea, is to just get as many local people knowing who we are. And just slowly build it up. We don't want to, like you say, spend £1,000, £2,000, £3,000 on a press release that might get us absolutely nothing, and then we've completely blown our chance, really. So it goes back to even building a website. We've done it ourselves. All the promotion comes from me as the social media guy, and YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter or X, and Facebook. And we haven't got a budget as a small business to employ someone to do all this. So slowly but surely, we'll just try and get the message out to the local media and see what we get from there. Brilliant.
And I just want to wish you all the best of luck with it, because, it's a twofold wish, really. Obviously, good luck to Bolton on, is it Saturday or is it Sunday?
Saturday it is, yeah, Saturday. Fingers crossed.
The starting to kick in. I'm
trying my best not to think about it, Tom. I really am. But
sorry for raising it twice in the course of a 15-minute chat. Sorry about that. And good luck as well with the blog, or the video blog, I should say. And it sounds like that's moving in the right direction too, right? In terms of the number of views you're getting, the amount of
I mean, we got our first spotting last Tuesday night at the Bolton, after the Bolton Barnsley second leg. We got some guy came up to us and said, "Oh, you're the guys on YouTube," and asked for a picture with us. And he hasn't bought anything, so but he's a lurker.
He's a social media lurker. Yeah, he'll buy something when you least expect it.
Yeah. So no, but thanks for everything. Thanks for letting me on the air and inviting me. But again, not to kind of make too fine a point on it, but the series podcast that you put out there and the continuing ones, I would recommend anyone who is thinking about it and or setting up a new business to listen to it, and just to get some ideas. As I say, the keyword is the blueprint. It really helped me to put something together. I'd have been struggling, because otherwise my only other option was Google press release template, and it what I produced before I listened to yours is your podcast was terrible in comparison. So good luck with it. Great.
I haven't paid Mike, I promise, for any of that kind of endorsement.
No, he hasn't. Definitely not.
It is good to hear, and it's sort of what the podcast was designed to do, really, which is to help smaller businesses like Mike's understand that it isn't terribly difficult to write a good press release, but there are certain things that you need to think about. The key one in this case, we think, being the hook that will get people really thinking about what your organization is all about, and not thinking with a sort of cynical commercial hat on that they're being sold to, but actually thinking that it's an organization that's doing good things in the community and sort of helping grassroots clubs. And that's really fantastic. So thanks very much for coming on, and all the best with it.
Great. Thanks very much, Tom.
Of course, after belabouring the point about Bolton's playoff chances throughout this episode, they went and lost to Oxford United a few days after we spoke. The perils of the pre-record. Oh well, sorry Mike. But it was fantastic hearing about the work that Centre Spot are doing, and it's businesses like Mike's that I think can really benefit from learning how to write really good press releases. They simply don't have the budget to hire dedicated marketing people or PR agencies, so they have to multitask. They have to get their hands dirty. They have to learn how to write these things themselves. So if that's you, and you haven't done so already, then please check out the first 4 episodes of this very podcast. And you should check out Mike's YouTube channel too. It's called Centerspot UK, and that's the website address as well, centerspotuk.com, where you can order your unique hoodies and t-shirts with your club's coordinates emblazoned on the front. That's it for now. Stand by for some more interviews coming soon. Thanks for listening. The Perfect Press Release is a Clement Stories podcast, written and produced by me, Tom Clark. If you need help writing your next press release, you can contact me on LinkedIn or via my website. The links are in the show notes.